Hi, this week I was asked to shoot a vlog on graze eating. Different people have different eating habits. Some people are graze eaters, others are binge eaters, others are restrictors. But I find the same solution works for all. It's about becoming conscious of thoughts around food that are leading us down paths we don't want to go. So for me, I had thoughts around food, such as, I need to get a lot of food and eat it now. I needed to eat to get through any sort of emotional situation. If I was feeling tired, angry, lonely, frightened, stressed, these were all reasons my head would tell me that I needed food. And at the time, it felt like I needed food. And there's also a physiological thing that goes on when we're stressed or tired. The food, feeds that physiological need for sugar or a dopamine kick to calm us down. But a lot of the time, our thoughts around food just can't be trusted, especially if we have found that we are obese or that we're binge eating or that we are going to crazy lengths to lose weight, or if food has become a real issue for us. If food isn't an issue for you, don't worry about it, and you eat when you need to and you don't eat when you don't want it. Brilliant. This vlog you might find a little bit redundant, but there are many of us who really do struggle with food choices, eating, stopping eating, how much is enough, and all the rest of it. So for me, I had to get clear on A, how much I needed in a day, and B, what were the things that were blocking me from eating how much I needed in the day. So the first part, A, is how much I needed in a day. That was resolved by having a plan of eating. I find, and most people find, 3 meals a day is the easiest. Every time we start eating, we have to stop again. And so the less times we start in the day, the less times we have to stop. So I think 3 meals a day is probably ideal. If you really need it, some people have snacks and that's okay. So it's first of all having 3 meals a day, cutting out foods that physiologically trigger cravings, so high sugar foods and foods that are high in flour. Not everyone is equally affected by these foods, but so floury foods would include things like rice pasta, normal pasta, bread, cakes, anything made up from flour, even rice flour and buckwheat flour. Anything that's been ground down causes our body a spike in blood sugar, which will make us crave more food. So those are the first few things to get sorted, avoiding those foods. That'll automatically make us less hungry throughout the day. And then the next thing is to set up boundaries around how much food we need at each meal, and to plan meal times. There's a PDF download either below this video or in the bio, where I outline how much food a typical person needs in the day. But quite often we need to do this with somebody, a nutritional therapist, or somebody in the medical profession who can look over it and say, yeah, that's enough. We don't want to get into the realm of undereating. This isn't about restricting. It's about getting to a place where we're at a healthy weight and where food noise is quieting down. We're not yo-yo dieting up and down all the time. So once we've established our some structure around our meals, quantities, times, that sort of thing, and what we're going to eat, the next thing is to grow in awareness. So people find that they're fine at the start of the week or the start of the day. They've got the resolve to eat a healthy portion and leave it. But towards the end of the day, we're tired, we're a bit cranky, we just want something to ease the pain of feeling a little bit off, and at those times it's really hard to, if left to our own devices, if we don't have a plan, it's nearly impossible to make healthy, moderate choices around foods. I'll always tell myself that I need more than I actually do. So this is where the plan or the food plan kicks in, and it becomes a bit like a spiritual practice. We have to become aware of the thoughts that come through our heads saying, you need to eat this now, you really need food now, and just watch them and let them come and let them go, and don't believe them, and know that, okay, I've made a commitment to have my dinner at 6, this is what I'm having, this is the amount I'm going to have, that'll be enough for me, and to stick to that. And as we don't indulge in our thoughts, as we don't believe them, as we don't act on impulsive thoughts, they start to quieten down, and in time it becomes just a habit to have a normal portion at every meal. At the beginning this can be really, really hard, so I would suggest making life as simple as possible, not doing too much physical activity, not having arranging big dinner parties, which is quite easy at the moment because of COVID, and eliminating anything from our life that might cause unnecessary stress. But once we get into the habit of it, and once it becomes automatic, these stressors won't be an issue. Like I go on holidays, I eat out, I get exhausted, I have young kids, I stay up too late, and I can handle all that now. But at the beginning I had to be really careful and disciplined and dedicated to it in order to get into the habit. And the other thing is that the willingness to do this, you might say, God, that's so extreme, there's no way I could ever do that, and that's fine. What I would recommend is that you become aware of your eating patterns and behaviours. Just watch what you do, watch when you eat, and just observe it. And the more you observe it, the more knowledge you'll gain about yourself and your thoughts and your thought processes. And maybe one day you might or you mightn't say, you know what, I'm ready to commit to some sort of structure in my food. And if you do, great. If you don't want to, that's totally fine. But for those of you who've had enough of the way you eat and you really want to change, support is really helpful. You may be able to do this on your own with the help of the PDF and all the guidelines I give in the PDF download I made. But you might find that you need support. There are community support groups like Overeaters Anonymous or Food Addicts Anonymous. They may not be for you. You can book into me for sessions, or another nutritionist, to just give yourself some support, or even do this with a friend. I post quite a lot of stuff on Facebook and Instagram, and that might be enough, along with the support of a friend who you do this with, or a husband, or somebody that you can confide in, and with the planning meals, it's best to plan meals when you have energy and when you are not exhausted. So maybe on a Sunday, or when the kids have gone to bed at night time, sit down, write out your plan for the next day, after you've eaten your dinner preferably, or in the first thing in the morning, plan what you're going to have, and keep the meals really, really simple. Like, I've been posting lots of recipes on Instagram and Facebook and stuff, but they don't need to be that complicated. They can be really, really simple. Keep them as simple as you can, to make it easier for yourself. On a day-to-day basis, my meals are really quite simple. I don't have the time to be making elaborate meals. If you want to, and if that you don't find it stressful, go ahead. But just keep things as simple as possible. And it's amazing, with time it just becomes complete habit. And we rely less and less on what our head tells us about food and food choices. I remember when I was pregnant, both my pregnancies, I was hormonal, I was tired, and my head was telling me I could eat a whole cow. I felt like I could eat a whole cow, And every month or whatever, my midwife would weigh me and she said, yeah, you've put on about the perfect amount of weight. And I never felt that I was getting enough. I just can't trust myself when it comes to, um, you know, when it comes to my own thoughts about how much food is right for me. So I needed sort of an outside structure imposed on me that I could follow, and that became my spiritual practice. That became, you know, um, it's real quiet in my mind. This is what I'm going to do, and I'm just going to observe what my head tells me. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to believe it. I'm just going to observe what my head is telling me around food. But this, I'm going to stick to my plan regardless of what my head tells me. And there are good days and bad days, easy days, hard days. But that levels off as time goes by. I don't get that many hard days, and it's never really a challenge anymore to stick to my plan. At the beginning, it was really hard, and there were certain times in the day where, maybe late at night or, at the weekend when things quieten down, I just really want to eat, just out of habit, just want to escape, just want some comfort. But I knew that the aftermath of that wasn't worth it. I didn't like what happened the next day, how I felt, the weight that I put on, and it would just set up more cravings. And the foods I always craved were things that would set up cravings for more. There were foods that just didn't suit me. So feel free to get in touch with me if you have any questions. Ring me for a 20 or 30 minute chat on the phone. I do that free of charge to see if you'd like to work with me. Or else just keep an eye out on Facebook and Instagram, where I'll hopefully post more and more information about my experience of freedom from food obsession. Take care. Bye now.